degree that we might think even we should be thinking a little bit harder about the degree to which we promote higher education to students who simply might be better off in the trades. Because the inclination to cheat suggests not wanting to be there in the first place.
Mitchell, thanks for that take. It's one that sometimes comes up, Scott, this idea that, not everybody should go to a four-year institution, and that's okay. I also have to wonder what you think about that in the context of a pandemic, that maybe you thought that's where you wanted to be, and now things have changed. Would you encourage students to change?
Well, I think students are attending every type of institution. More students start higher education at a community or technical college. A lot of students go there, and there's cheating there too. And so this problem is not unique to the best-known institutions, but you hear about it when it happens at those institutions. But cheating takes place everywhere.
Sure. So those technical or trade schools that Mitchell's talking about, students there are cheating too in some of the similar levels. Do we know that?
Not necessarily at the same levels, but they are cheating. Generally, the pressure for students to earn top grades is at four-year institutions and is at the most prestigious institutions. So there are differences between 2- and 4-year institutions, but there are cheaters everywhere.
We are going to go to Courtney in Madison now. Courtney, what are you thinking about?
Hi, I'm a nursing student. I'm an older nursing student. I'm well into my 30s. And, one of the things that I really struggle with is that I've been a nurse for a long time. I'm getting my bachelor's degree. And a lot of questions that I come up against on tests are memorizing either figures or specific, mathematical things that I would Google if I was actually on the floor with a patient. I would never, jog my memory to know whether this lab value is, off or something. I look it up, but I'm being tested on that maybe 50% of all my tests.
Courtney, do you think in those circumstances then that you would consider it cheating if you looked it up on the tests?
We are very strict about cheating. You'll get thrown out of the program if you get caught at all. But it does frustrate me because you're supposed to be learning a trade, a skill, or taking care of people, and they're teaching you not how to do that, but how to memorize things.
All right.
That will not actually benefit anybody in the long run, because I'm going to look it up when it actually comes to it. I would never risk someone's health remembering something incorrectly.
Yeah. Courtney, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the work that we do. We really appreciate you being a nurse and helping people right now. Scott, the Wall Street Journal had an article about cheating, and it said some parents aren't okay with cheating if teachers are doing a good job, but if the teacher's just posting assignments and not doing any what they consider real teaching, they think kids should be resourceful and look online or ask friends. What do you think about that?
I disagree with it. I mean, look, if there are many courses where it's totally fine because the professor says it's fine to use all the materials you can get, and so that's not cheating. But if the professor says you can't use certain materials, call me old-fashioned, but I believe that's cheating and that you shouldn't do it.
Do you expect that when we move back to more in-person classes, eventually that cheating will go down?
Not really, because cheating is always a problem. And until people, get serious about teaching what is cheating and what is not cheating, I think it will continue.
How do you remind people that cheating hurts students in the long run?
In the long run, you give them examples. And I think one of the questioners said, if you cheat, you don't have the knowledge, and that the knowledge matters. And I'd even say to the nursing student that it's important to know how to look up how to calculate certain kinds of information. You might use a calculator later in life, but you've got to know what it is. And that's just old-fashioned, important education.
That idea that, sure, you might not use algebra every day, but it also teaches you how to think.
Yeah.
Scott, we really appreciate your time going through this. Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Take care.
Scott Tasic is an editor at Inside Higher Ed. We are talking with him about the rise in cheating among students, especially doing virtual learning, and what colleges, universities, professors are doing about it. WPR and Wisconsin Watch are documenting the lives of Wisconsinites in this unprecedented time with a series of audio diaries called Outbreak Wisconsin. Wisconsin hospitals have started administering coronavirus vaccines. That includes UW Health in Madison, where Mariah Clark is a nurse in the emergency department. She recorded this diary the day she learned she'd be getting the shot.
I just stepped outside after my post-work shower. It is December 17th, and it's nearly 6 a.m. I was about to go to bed, but this warrants noting. So I woke up yesterday morning on the 16th to a text message from one of my supervisors saying that I was scheduled to get my COVID-19 vaccination today. And I was just so excited. Honestly, I knew that we'd be among the first because, emergency ICU and other staff with direct daily patient care of COVID-19 patients would be in the first tier for vaccination and part of the first bit of the rollout, but I didn't think I would be getting it quite so soon. So I was really excited to get that text message this morning. The science is amazing. The science is fascinating. And I am excited. I'm excited to help protect my patients and to help protect my family and to help protect myself. But most of all, I'm really happy that this is happening. And I'm happy to be part of history in one of the more significant mass vaccination campaigns of my lifetime. I'm excited to get the fastest developed vaccines in recent history. The last quickest vaccine development was the mumps vaccine, and that took 4 years and was considered remarkable. This took us 1 year, and while mRNA vaccination is new, mRNA vaccine research is not, and I am very comfortable getting this vaccine and hope to be able to be an example that encourages others to do the same when it becomes more widely available.
What was that?
And I hope that it means that slowly, gradually, months from now, we return to something resembling the normalcy we knew before.
Nated later that day, December 17th. To hear more stories like this one, visit wpr.org/outbreakwisconsin. Coming up after the news, we are having a discussion about television. What were some of your favorite TV shows from this past year? I'm going to be talking with a TV critic about some of her favorites, and we'd love to hear from you too. You can give us a call or you can email us. You can do that at ideas@wpr.org. We'll have the lines open and we'll have a conversation about television in 2020 and what's ahead next year. I'm Keely Baltina. You're listening to Central Time on the Ideas Network.
From NPR News, I'm Giles Snyder. With just weeks left in the White House, President Trump could be facing the first override of his presidency. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell opened today's floor session, urging senators to follow the House in voting to override Trump's veto of that huge year-end defense policy bill.
For the brave men and women of the United States, their armed forces, failure is simply not an option. So when it's our turn in Congress to have their backs, failure is not an option either. I would urge my colleagues to support this legislation one more time when we vote tomorrow.
But the timing of the vote is uncertain. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders objected to McConnell's request for a vote tomorrow, saying he will hold things up until McConnell allows a vote on increasing coronavirus relief payments to $2,000. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris has received the vaccine for COVID-19 a week after President-elect Joe Biden was vaccinated. Here's NPR's Windsor Johnston.
After receiving the shot during a televised event, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris once again stressed the safety and effectiveness of the vaccine.
I trust the scientists, and it is the scientists who created and approved this vaccine. So I urge everyone, when it is your turn, get vaccinated.
The nation's top infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, had strongly recommended that Harris and President-elect Biden be inoculated as soon as possible. He's also recommending that President Trump, who tested positive for the coronavirus in October, receive the vaccine. Windsor Johnston, NPR News.
President-elect Biden is criticizing the Trump administration over the pace of vaccine distribution. Speaking in Wilmington, Delaware, Biden warned today that the administration's plans were falling short, and he said he will ask Congress for additional funds to increase the speed and scale of the effort. This is NPR News.
It's 3:32. This is news from Wisconsin Public Radio. Good afternoon. I'm Brady Carlson. One of the co-chairs of the legislature's powerful budget committee says he thinks schools can return to in-person instruction and state workers can return to the office. Both ideas were included in an Assembly GOP proposal dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Beaver Dam Assembly Republican Mark Ford says he thinks it's important to have kids in the classroom for learning. He also says state workers can follow the lead of the private sector.
There are a lot of businesses throughout Wisconsin that have been operating very safely following CDC guidelines. I don't think that state government is any different. I think we can manage that as well.
Republicans have been at odds with Governor Tony Evers when it comes to in-person gatherings for state government. For example, the governor plans to deliver his annual State of the State address virtually this year, but GOP leaders have said they think the legislature can conduct its work in person. While coronavirus vaccines have been given emergency use authorization for people over the age of 16, the vaccines have not yet been studied in children. Graham Sable-Smith reports.
Researchers know we need more information about the safety and efficacy of the coronavirus vaccines in children. There just has not been enough time to research the topic. Studies are set for the beginning of 2021. Dr. William Hartman of UW Health says children have been lower on the priority list for studies because they tend to get less sick from the coronavirus.
Thank goodness. And so the priority has been on adults, especially elderly adults, when these vaccines have been established.
Hartman says the studies with children could move quickly, possibly fast enough that we'll know more by the time vaccines are widely available to the public. Graham Sable-Smith, Wisconsin Public Radio.
The State Department of Health Services has launched a page on its website for information on COVID-19 vaccines. In a statement this afternoon, DHS said the page would include information on how many doses of each approved vaccine has been allocated to the state, how many have been shipped, and the number that have been administered. As of today, there have been over 40,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine administered and about 6,300 of the Moderna vaccine. The state is prioritizing frontline healthcare workers and residents and staff in long-term care facilities for vaccination. You're listening to WPR News. There's more news anytime at WPR.org.
While the COVID-19 pandemic can feel overwhelming, the good news is that just a few simple steps can help stop the spread and save lives. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services recommends wearing a mask, washing your hands frequently, maintaining social distance, and limiting gatherings. Learn more about COVID safety, including information about testing locations and COVID activity levels in your area at dhs.wisconsin.gov.
Support for Wisconsin Public Radio is provided by the Lee Esther News Fellowship, providing early career journalists the opportunity to learn hands-on reporting, editing, and broadcasting in a professional setting as part of the WPR News Department. Support also comes from Car Valley Cheese, a fourth-generation artisan cheesemaking company with retail locations throughout southern Wisconsin, offering Wisconsin cheese holiday gift boxes. CarValleyCheese.com.
91.3 WHHI, Highland, Dodgeville, the Ideas Network. Find us at WPR.org or listen on your smart speaker.
You're listening to Central Time. I'm Keely Bultina in for Rob Farrett. Coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock on The Morning Show, talking about money with people closest to us can be awkward, even contentious. Learn how to break the ice with a personal finance expert. That's tomorrow bright and early here on the Ideas Network. Now, it's the end of the year, quite a year. Let's talk about TV. Through 2020's ups and downs and safer home orders and reopenings, TV remained. Streaming, network, cable, new series, old favorites. We're going to get to some of the best that was available this year, and you are part of this conversation. Call us now at 800-642-1234. What did you watch this year that blew you away, that helped you escape, that sparked your imagination, or maybe helped you heal? What do you recommend watching? Call 800-642-1234. You can also post on the Ideas Network Facebook page. Our guest as we navigate the year that was is Jen Chaney, TV critic at Vulture. Jen, welcome back to Central Time.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
You're a TV critic, but maybe let's just take that cap off for a second. How important a role did TV play for you this year, not as a critic, but as a person?
Gosh, it's so hard to separate the two for me. But I think it was important for me. It was important for everybody. It was really a companion, and it always is to some degree, but it really was especially a needed companion during these times when we had to stay indoors and really weren't able to go out and socialize like we normally would. And it gave us all something to connect with, to the extent that we could talk to each other over Zoom or on the phone. That could become our shared culture, something that we were all stuck inside watching together.
You've got a list, and we're going to get to that and get to a lot of recommendations. Big misses that you clocked this year.
Well, people are going to get mad at me for this because it was the first phenomenon, I guess, in the pandemic. But Tiger King, to me, was a miss in the sense that I just didn't think it was that great of a docuseries. Certainly the people in it were fascinating, and it had that sort of, I have to watch this car crash quality to it, and I totally understand why people got sucked into it. But I think somehow along the way we got confused and thought that it was worthy of Emmy nominations, and it was not. So for me, that was definitely a miss.
All right. Well, the one thing that's nice about television is that we get to have our own opinions and decide. So even if it frustrates people, there might be things on their list that, rise to the top of theirs that you wouldn't choose, or vice versa. Let's get into some of the television that you thought was the best to come out this year. Your ranking is 1 to 10, and at number 5 we've got Pen 15 from Hulu. We've got a clip of the two main characters from Pen 15, and they're middle schoolers who are having a heart-to-heart.
Do you think I've changed?
Do you think I've changed? You? Yeah. Do you?
I think that we all change all the time, and that's just fine.
So you do? You think I've changed, like in a bad way?
Mostly good.
Oh my God.
Mostly good. It was just when we were at the dance, like, we were, like, grinding. We just, people and me.
That talking over one another, oh, it brings you right back to middle school. I mean, maybe even now still. What is it about Pen 15 that puts it so high up on your list for the year?
So this was the show's second season, and it's actually split its second season in half because the pandemic forced them to shut down production. So the second half of that season will come in 2021. But the remarkable thing about this show to me is that the two people you just heard talking created the show, Maya Erskine and Anna Kunkel, are in their early 30s playing basically themselves as 12 or 13-year-olds. And that sounds ridiculous and like something that would not work at all as a TV show. But it's remarkable how in every episode I just immediately forget how old they are because they just capture what it feels like, and they're acting opposite kids who are actually that age. So they're the only adults in the room, really. And they just do such a remarkable job with it, and it's really funny. It's a little bit explicit sometimes in some of the things that it explores, but it's also just really poignant. Older people playing younger people adds to the poignancy.
We're talking with Jen Chaney, who's a TV critic at Vulture. We're talking about television this year, and we're taking your calls at 800-642-1234. What do you recommend we watch? Or maybe you sat through it and you've decided you want to let other people know they should steer clear of it. You can give us a call at 800-642-1234. You can also email ideas@wpr.org. Another one that made your list that we've heard a lot about related to retail sales is The Queen's Gambit. That's number 8 on your list. It's from Netflix. We have seen stories about how chess sets have had rising sales because this is a show that is based around competition and chess. Tell us more about The Queen's Gambit and why it makes your top 10.
So yeah, this is a show on Netflix about a young woman who becomes basically, the premier champion of the chess world, and it's set in, it goes from the 50s through the 60s, and she is an anomaly, obviously, in that she's a woman in a game that mostly is dominated by male players. I think a lot of the appeal is in Anya Taylor-Joy, who plays